originally from Brazil. I was born in Rio de Janeiro and spent most of my time in south of Brazil, in Porto Alegre. And then I went to Brasilia. And when I came to Brasilia, that's I really met the Brazilian music. For the first time, I heard all the music that come from northeast. And that was where I started really getting interest on the rhythms and the really roots of Brazilian music. That was a very important point in my education and also in my composition. I started playing guitar and then I was a bass player for many years. I left home, I was 17 years old, and I started making my life giving private lessons in guitar and bass and play a lot in nightclubs. I entered at university to do a composition degree. My senior year at the composition degree, I was playing bass at the symphony orchestra when for the first time I hear a marimba playing. And I was like love at first sight, and I decided to start studying percussion. So it was a lot of work to start percussion with 25 years old. And I was established a rock and roll musician in town. And then suddenly nobody was just a student of percussion. What really attracts me in the percussion is an unlimited field. We can create, we can explore. I think that I could dedicate my entire life for this and still would learn a lot. Composition was something very natural for me. I started composing as a teenager. We have a group that loved the Beatles. And then at the time, so some guys wrote the lyrics and we started writing the music. So that's where I start with 13, 14 years old, I start composing. And then later on, I used the composition as always a way to learn the instrument. I remember when I entered the university, I learned violin and I composed for violin, and I learned oboe and I composed for oboe, and also composed for double bass as a way to learn more the instruments. And this concept I apply later on for the percussion. I remember my first piece, the Suite Popular, I wrote exactly to practice one-hand roll and octaves. And later on, I wrote another piece to develop my left hand. 3 years ago, I wrote my second marimba concerto, and I had still some problems in the left hand to do octaves in a 5-octave marimba and roll it. So I wrote a big passage to push my technique for that. It took me probably longer to learn how to play that second movement of the concerto than to write the composition. So I always use the composition as a way to push my technique and to develop my musical knowledge and my percussion knowledge. In Brazilian music, nobody really is writing for marimba and vibes. And when I start traveling around the world, I did not want to play Keiko Abe, I did not want to play Gordon Stout because it was not something for my country. So I started composing and to show my country, to show our music. About my compositions, I don't know if they're good or bad, I don't know, but one thing I can really say, they are very honest. I just write a piece when I feel like I have something to write, I have something to say. I don't take a piece and say, oh, it's nothing written for solo xylophone, I'm gonna write, I can make some big bucks on this. No, I don't do this. And I also, honestly, I don't think I'm gonna make a music to be remembered in 100 years from now. If I would be remembered 100 years from now, it would be great. But you see, I think those kind of things we cannot control. Because a good example is my first marimba concerto. That concerto became so popular, it's been performed more than 1,000 times. I think my second marimba concerto is a much better music than the first one. But the people doesn't play, are not performing them so much, you see. That's, I cannot control. I cannot say I'm gonna write a new piece, it's gonna be the most popular piece ever. No, we never know what other people will play. For many years, everything that sound melodic, sound rhythm was not good. Gotta be intellectual. Listen, I'm work hard every day. I go home. I like to listen nice music. I like to listen music that relax for me. And that's probably the kind of music that I write, some things that I enjoy myself listen, and that I enjoy myself playing. I'm very musical oriented as a teacher. See, I have a lot of students, especially the freshmen, they come and already play difficult things. I say, no, let's go back. Let's start doing something really simple. Yeah. I have a phrase in my office that I show every student that stepped there for the first time. That's Pablo Casals, that says the most difficult things to achieve in music are the simplest things. Yeah, I think that's very important to study other instruments, because before we are percussionists, we should be good musicians. And I think especially drummers tend to sit in a drum set and spend a lot of time just in a drum set. I think in one point, you just cannot be a better drummer if you're not a better musician. I think you should play in percussion ensemble, you should play marimba, you should play piano. You should open your mind as a musician, and then you're going to start understanding much better about playing drums, more dynamic and more musical and so on. I have here a class on Brazilian music, and also the students go there, and I always say, oh, when you play this music, come on, let's dance, let's move, let's smile. You see, because that's a lot of people forget it. So this Brazilian class is a lab for them to loosen up, and that helps also another thing. So for example, they learn how to play an instrument and to sing at the same time, this independence that comes probably when you play guitar. So that's definitely, you should try to play other instruments. Piano for sure is good. Probably with not with the same concentration as your main instrument, but that's very, very important. I don't consider myself a real composer that composed for all the instruments, so I don't have this need to be intellectual and write the most difficult music. Just everyone looks different, everyone sounds different, so everyone has to find his own way to say things and keep it going.